Disclaimer, pretend all the information from my previous size videos is inaccurate or something. I don't know. Hello everybody, so today I have measured a bunch of the creatures. I'm pretty sure I measured all of them in Rain World, and I measured them using this image of a brick I found online. I don't care if it's not accurate, this is what I found, and I did it because I was bored. So anyways, let's jump right in, starting with the Slugcat. Alright, so the Slugcat, so they're relatively small. I'd say about the size of like a house cat or something, standing on its hind legs. You know, pretty average size for giant rat, pretty much. Next is the Lantern Mouse. So these guys are pretty small, around the same size as the Slugcat. So nothing really too special about them. And now we have the Grapworm, which is the same size as the Lantern Mouse, so, you know, pretty cool grappling hook that won't fit in your pocket, you know. Now the Batfly, these guys are actually a lot bigger than I thought, so, yeah. Okay, so the Yeek is about the same size you would expect for a giant frog capable of leaping insane amount into the air. Now we have the Leeches, which I would not want any of these things on me, because the sound of a leech a few feet long, they would probably drain a lot of blood, and I like my blood, so. Now we have the Hazer, which these things are about like the size of an ocean squid you would find, I'm pretty sure, so that's pretty accurate. Now we got the Snails. So about 2-foot long snail capable of producing a blast or sound that will knock you out. These things would definitely cause lots of problems. Now we got the Scavengers. These are about the size you'd expect for like a primate, like a chimpanzee or something. So like, put these things in a zoo or something, keep people entertained. Now the Jetfish, these things are like probably the size of like an average tuna or like a small shark, so pretty cool. Okay, so Squid Cotta. So funny thing, the black versions of them are bigger than the white ones. I don't know if that's like male or female, but giant squids, so pretty cool. Now we got the Noodle Flies. So the adult is actually pretty big, and the child is about like same size as the Slugcat. So these things, if you like took their baby, their noodle thing in their nose is probably like a few feet long. So do not take their kids. Now the Dropwigs. So imagine a giant cockroach that's the size of you hanging on your ceiling waiting to murder you. These probably exist in Australia, so I feel bad for you guys. Now we have egg bugs, which are probably related to the Dropwigs, so these things would probably like be considered a delicacy for the size of their eggs. So yeah. Now firebugs, they're a bit bigger than the egg bug, so they're probably related some way, somehow, but yeah. Now back to Australia, or I mean Shaded Citadel, the spiders. So this is like one of the smaller ones, not like the giant ones, but these ones can get up to like 3 feet long in leg span, so scary. Now we got all the big spiders. So the spitter spider, which surprised me, was the biggest out of all of them. I thought the mother spider would be the biggest, but yeah, so giant chloroform spitting spider, just normal giant spider. And then the one from those videos, you see them beating it up with a broom, and then like 10,000 babies pop out of it. So yeah, giant spider. Alright, so centipedes. So the baby ones are relatively small, but the big ones, So that isn't like their actual size. Well, I mean it is. They can vary, but I just got like an average one, which is still massive, and I would not like to get grabbed by one of these. Now the flying centipedes. I'm pretty sure these ones' sizes can also vary, but that still doesn't make them any less bigger. Now the aquapede. I think these ones have like a fixed size, but still they are at an impressive 12 feet. Now the red centipede. These things are really big, and so their shells, like, they're hard to get off, so these things would probably need like a tank to kill them. Because like 9mm pistol ain't gonna do nothing. Alright, now we got the blue lizard. These are pretty small compared to the rest of them. Alright, so we got the yellow lizard, a bit bigger than the blue lizard. Funny thing, I forgot this and like just measured the length just now. Alright, we got the pink lizard. You know, he's just a small little guy. We got the white lizard, a bit bigger than the pink lizard. You know, pretty cool. Then we got the black lizard, which pretty funny, blind lizard. You know, thought they'd be a bit smaller, since like, whatever. Then we got the cyan lizard, which these things are pretty big. They're about the size of a human, and they would probably not be fun to deal with, since they are always jumping everywhere. Now we got the green lizard, which again are pretty big, probably like the size of like a small alligator or something. Next up we got the salamander, you know, pretty big, I guess, compared to a regular one, except like that really big one in Japan. I forget what it's called. Now we're starting to get into the big lizards. So we got the caramel lizard, or caramel. I don't know how to say it, so I guess on the next lizard. Now we got the eel lizard, which this thing is like pretty much a shark because its size, and it will probably rip you to shreds very easily. Now we have the strawberry lizard, which their tongue is probably longer than their entire body, but their fluffy tail looks very fluffy, and I kind of want one. Now we got the red lizard. As expected, these things are very big and will definitely kill you. So we got the train lizard. No, I did not forget about this one. They are about a foot bigger than the red lizard, so about same size, still very deadly. Alright, so we got the Meros birds. These things are pretty big for giant scissor chickens, and if I remember, their beaks are about like 2 foot long, which is easily enough to cut you in half. So now we got the king vulture and the normal vulture. They are both pretty big. The biggest having wingspan of 20 feet, and the vulture grub is, you know, pretty small as expected. Now what happens when you mix the two previous birds is you get this giant thing, which would definitely be a huge threat, having a exploding laser, and its wings are probably made of metal. Like, there's nothing biological about that thing at all. So this section is for stuff like I don't know exactly how to group it, so anyways, have fun. Alright, so we got the monster kelp. These things are pretty big. Like, I think there's some species of kelp out there that can grow that big, but ones that are carnivorous, I don't think those exist. And I got the overseer. These things are like pretty small, about up to your knee height. Security camera. Now we got the overseer's big brother, the inspector. These things, from its core to its head, is about 14 feet, which is pretty big. Now we got the one and only thing that consumes the rot. So they all kind of vary in different sizes. We got the hunter long legs being the smallest out of them. Then I don't know if I like calculated wrong, but the brother long legs, the green one, is bigger than the daddy long legs somehow. I probably messed up my measurement, but the mother longlegs is the biggest out of all of them. Now we got the reindeer. These are, I guess, what you'd expect for giant deer that have a brain. Like, you think their brain be big, but they'll sit out to the end of the cycle and get crushed by the rain. So, now the giant jellyfish. These things are very massive, and I would not like to be swimming in the water next to this thing. Now we got the Leviathan. This thing was a pain to measure, but it comes in at a whopping 114 feet, and your body would very easily fit in this thing's mouth. So if this thing was in the water, I would probably be immediately rushing for the shore. If you can outswim it, that is. Now we have the Guardian, standing at an impressive 18 feet, 19 feet. This thing would probably be extremely good at basketball, demonstrated by its dribbling skills and its impressive stature. So Jerry is a very big worm, and in my previous video, I had a lot of trouble measuring him because of his sheer size. But by some miracle, someone found this image and took an entire picture of the void worm. And this isn't even the entire image. Some of its tail is still sticking out of the void sea. So pretty much, yeah. So I started by measuring these little like dimple things on its body, on the segments on it. Then I got the amount of dimples on this specific segment right here, and then put them along the length of it, and got this impressive length of about 1 kilometer long, which is probably not even its full size, because you can see at the bottom left there's still like that little bit of tail that's out of the void sea. Okay, so this is just a disclaimer before I start. A lot of Five Pebbles measurement is like estimated because measuring map tiles is kind of confusing, and I have no idea how much of the actual play area makes up 5 pebbles. So for all I know, he could be a lot bigger than what I'm measuring. But with that out of the way, let's get into it. So to measure his height, I got the wall and the leg, and I added up the map tile length, and I measured them using this method right here. And I got about like 350 meters, I'm pretty sure. And I was like, that can't be accurate, but I decided to push on and keep measuring it anyways. And then I moved on to the width of it, which I used the underhang, which I got about 550 meters. But I thought that couldn't be right, so I kind of gave up. But then after some digging, or not digging, just like remembering, I remembered the map in Gourmand that he shows you of the facilities, both him and Moons, and I realized that underhang connects to the precipice, which is that little white line between the two structures. And if we're assuming underhang and precipice go in a straight line, that was only the width. So I decided to measure it, and it was about 1 3/4 length, so I just multiplied that, and I ended up getting the length of this structure, which was the correct size. Not really the correct size, but the size I was looking for. Now I added up everything, all the lengths I got, and I ended up getting this number here in this TXT file, and his total volume is pretty big. His total volume is about 6 million feet squared, or 2 million meters, which is a lot. It's probably less considering the legs have a bunch of like open space underneath them, but it's still massive regardless, and he could probably fit like a small city on top of him like he does. And no, I did not forget about his puppet, who is a measly 3 feet tall. It's pretty short compared to the rest of his entire structure. Anyways, that'll do it for the video, so thank you to all who tuned in for this last part. Anyways, you should subscribe, probably, and maybe like. Anyways, see you guys in the next video.